This is the High School Crossfire. Welcome back.
Resolved. In the bid fight tribalism, this house will ban traditional and tribal institutions. Now, panel. Team negatives come with an issue that by banning traditional and tribal institutions, this will eradicate it is brought about by human instinct. But we need to realize that this issue, actually we come to realize that though it is, of course it isn't due to human instinct, because we come to realize that traditional and tribal institutions, they are the ones which have brought about differences amongst the people, whereby people advocate for their own tribal and their own culture, and so neglecting the others, thus bringing about differences amongst the people. These differences are the ones actually which bring about the majority-minority complex, whereby we are seeing the majority and minority complex. It is the very seed that is bringing about different conflicts, because when we got to look at on these statistics, on 11th July 2012, clashes between the Bamba and Bakonzo broke out in individual district after Bamba trying to burn down a shrine constructed by the Rwenzururu king. You realize that. So, and when we go again see, we go ahead see, we realize that even in 1962, Rwenzururu rebellion against the Toro came out due to the majority-minority complex, of which this majority and minority complex, it brought about grievances amongst the people, which grievances are actually bringing about tribalism. You realize that? So, and when we go to realize very well, that's why for us, we do come in an attempt to cap down tribalism. We come with different strategies. We had a pre-period strategy, and the during process, and of course the post-period. That's why my first farmer came and told you of the issue of going to parliament to bring about this issue to amend the law. And then we do realize that in the post-period, we come with transforming such former tribal and traditional institutions into tourism centers. For example, instead of eliminating, bringing these people down, the traditional and tribal leaders, for example. But this one would be by involving, just as our first farmer came and told you, by involving all the sides, bringing about truth and reconciliation between the affected and the affectees and any other parties which are concerned, and even bringing about civic education and reconciliation to ensure mindset change and bring about a unifying factor. That's what we came on board and bringing on to you. And then we come to realize also that the issue of nationalism is the one that we are pursuing through re-emphasizing civic education, as we have told you, and bringing about consultative meetings where we have told you that we shall bring these people together, bring national dialogues through broadcasting, for example, television and radio station, and even catering for those in the villages who can take these through village meetings to bring about the issue of the people. And then after that, that's when we shall now come with the banning process. After harmonizing all these people, after preaching at them so that we may bring about the applicability of our process, even bringing about after amending this article of 246 clause 1, and that speaks about these traditions and tribal institutions. And then we come also to realize that when you go to statistics, we realize that Bakonzo used to stay together with Bamba before establishment of Dinja Bamba. But now, this is according to Uganda Radio Network. So we realize that due to the majority-minority complex that had arisen those days amongst these two groups, that's why we are saying that tribalism arose, and that's why we have now come up with that's why we came up with our plan of bringing about this thing and solving it. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll get started. Now, in today's debate, what we are solving, we as the affirmative and negative teams, it is tribalism, which means the problem at hand is tribalism. But what we get from the affirmative team, they're trying to show us that yes, they are solving tribalism, but then they are not looking at the root cause analysis, what has brought about tribalism. So according to their plan, they affirm to us that yes, at some time, tribalism might be solved, but then they never understand that there are chances of tribalism coming up again because in their plan they don't look at the root cause. Now, in our plan, we analyze it clearly and tell you that what's happening about tribalism currently in the country Uganda is that people are having instincts and characters that have been grown up in them, which need to be changed by changing their mindset. So we think that after the mindset of these people has been changed, we can have a basic solution of overcoming tribalism, even not banning these traditional and traditional institutions. When you look at the traditional institutions, these are institutions that come in various areas that in nation building in any country, we need to see a country which can be brought up with identity. There is no country anywhere that can develop without identity. People need to grow up on their norms, on their clans and cultures. So I want to give you a relevant example of Buganda. Buganda is a kingdom that is well known for growing large sums of coffee. This has not come about because it has been mobilized by government or something. It is because the Kabaka has advised his people to plant coffee. This would be difficult for government to advise people to do so. But people listen to the Kabaka because he's the highest, the supreme king in their kingdom. So when look on the basics of supervision, on the basics of togetherness, on the basics of mobilization, they fail out and they don't look at that. According to the World Bank report of 2018-2019, Uganda has been earning 1.6 trillion from tourism, but the largest percentage of more than 30%, we see that has been coming from cultural tourism. They don't look at that. People are getting employed by these traditional institutions. People are getting employment. People are benefiting so high from these traditional institutions and the traditions, but the affirmative team does not basically look at that. They give us examples of Bakonjo and the Bamba who were totally contradicting, but then what sort of that is that people have been told to change their mindset, and they know and they are taught on how to coexist with others in society other than abandoning these traditional institutions. We tell them that we can come about this through media, community engagement, and community engagement. But before we look at that, let us look at backlash. Because it is not that after have banned all these traditional institutions, that the people will just come at will. There will be rejection. You cannot ban Buganda Kingdom, you cannot ban the Busoga Kingdom, and people will just admit to that because these are the supreme leaders. So they don't show us how clearly that will happen. They don't look at the backlash that might even cause more bad than good in the due process. So they might lose themselves in trying to find themselves in the process of finding out this. I come up with another relevant example of a country like Rwanda that was mostly affected by tribalism, where the Hutu were attacking the Tutsi in the due process. We see that what solves the problems of tribalism in Rwanda and the genocide, it is not that it's not according to their approach. We see that people were forced to reconcile and coexist together by changing their mindset, sensitizing them, community engagement by teaching people how they can coexist with each other in the community, and then have a final solution, unlike their plan of banning traditionals and traditional institutions. Because that is an irony in the first place. We cannot have a country which has no identity. We cannot have people who have no clans, totems, and people or basic grounds where they come from. The country needs identity, but the basic solution is that we can have a win-win situation where we can have these traditional institutions and traditions where people can get employment, where we can generate income, where we can get self-reliant business, and people can live together and coexist together and still fight tribalism by changing people's mindset, teaching people how they can coexist with others in the community, teaching people how they can associate with each other in the community, rather than banning traditional institutions that have been helping to harmonize all the people in the country. When you talk about mobilization, it is easier for the Chabazinga to mobilize his people than the president himself. So we need these kingdoms and the traditional institutions to help in the mobilization and to promote identity in the country, rather than banning the institutions without a noble cause. Allow me to submit.
This is the High School Crossfire. We'll be back in a minute.